we're going to talk about how Daniel Bossou, an exceptional, fine, incredibly talented, smart, fine young man with exceptionally good work ethic, how he got his first cloud architect job. We are here with one of my amazing students. In fact, an exceptional, fine young man who got his first cloud architect job. And tonight we're going to talk about how Daniel Bossou, an exceptional, fine, incredibly talented, smart, fine young man with exceptionally good work ethic, how he got his first cloud architect job. All of you can get a cloud architect job if you want to. And Daniel's going to show you how at 21 years old, without any kind of obvious career experience, he was hired by one of the world's biggest and greatest banks as a solution architect job. Now, he obviously took our cloud architect course, but there's other ways to do it. And if you attend our free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar, which my team will post a link to in the chat box, I'll tell you how to do it with us or with others, because all we care about is that you get cloud hired. And that's why we do these things. And he'll talk about how to get your first cloud architect job. We'll talk about, maybe the impact of cloud architect interview training. We may talk about the importance of cloud architect career training, and maybe what a cloud architect resume looks like and why a cloud architect resume is different than a cloud engineer's resume. And we'll probably talk about the difference between why the cloud architect and the cloud engineer are so different, because it's critical for everybody to know that, because that's the key to getting your first cloud architect job. You have to have cloud architect job skills. So when people ask how to become a cloud architect or what does a cloud architect do, if you truly know that and you truly understand that, that's when you're getting hired. So for example, a football player trains to be a football player. They don't train like a marathon runner, and they look different and they perform differently. And an airplane pilot has a different job than a race car driver, even though they're still moving vehicles. And it's all about getting the right cloud architect career training so you get that cloud architect job. And it comes to this, and it's the specificity of training. And whether you're training a pro athlete or whether you're training a cloud architect, it's all the same. So tonight, we're going to have a very special show. Obviously, you've got Alonzo Coleman, one from my team, and Chris Johnson, my chief operating officer. He's, there with me on everything. But we're going to be here tonight to really celebrate Daniel Bossou's success. You're going to hear from him. I'm going to interview him, and he's going to talk about things that helped him, things that he's learned, experiences along the way. And seriously, he's 21 years old. He just turned 21. So before we begin, before we do anything or talk about anything, let's give him a hashtag cloud hired. And while we're at it, congratulations, Daniel Bossou. He's an exceptional leader, and we are so proud of him. And when he told me he was cloud hired, he saw the tears in my eye because he did it on Zoom. And then he did it, and I'm still proud of him, and I'm still crying because I'm so excited for him. I know it happens every day for us. We get somebody hired, but 21 years old is extremely hard because there's no life experience to prove. And when Daniel was in our course and I said, you're 21, I'm going to push you twice as hard, didn't I? And we did. So, Chris, Alonzo, come talk for a minute or two, talk about things, and then, we'll do the interview and then we'll have a roundtable discussion.
I just love the fact that he's still doing interviews. You thought you were finished with him.
It never ends, Daniel.
It's true. It never ends, Daniel.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, and I will say, Daniel cannot touch his phone at all. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. We had to adapt and improvise before we got on here, so fingers crossed.
Definitely.
We've got some unique communication challenges for any of those that are familiar with unified communications, one-way audio, screen phrases. We've had it all tonight, so we're all on this unstable thing, so we're going to use it and have some fun.
So I don't have much to add to the conversation yet. Just want to let everyone know that we did just finish the first day of our Azure Bootcamp. So if you happen to have missed the first day of our Azure Bootcamp, you can find the link in the chat box. We'll share it here later on in the show, but I'm not going to share it yet because I want you to pay attention to this show. But we just finished day 1, so there's still a chance for you to get caught up with us and join us for day 2 tomorrow. And then also to let everybody know when Alonzo and I get through saying hello, and we're going to say goodbye, and we're going to leave you with Mike and Daniel. So just to give everybody some fair warning there. But I don't have much to say. I'm sure I'll have some questions when it comes my time for the interview.
Get ready, Daniel.
I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, I wanted to say I am excited for you. I am thrilled. You got put through the paces, and you know you did, and you came out on top. And like I was saying before, you look great. Your presentation, both internally, externally, you are dressed to kill. You have the mind is sharp. You're ready to knock it out. You're ready to have a successful career, and I will be watching. And I got questions as well, so looking forward to it.
Thank you, Alonzo. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So before we leave you with Mike, do you have any last words, Daniel?
Uh-oh. Drum roll.
Throw me in the fire. Let's go.
All right. All right.
All right.
So we're going to have some fun here. You know, it's really hilarious. Daniel, do you remember how you found us? Because I can tell you how you did if you don't remember.
I do. So I was doing something that I truly loved, music. I was doing that. I really loved it. And I realized that I needed to do something more, that music was a hobby, and that I needed to do something that I could enjoy. And I found myself in technology, and I found myself in cybersecurity. I loved it, but I ended up going to this boot camp. I paid an exorbitant amount of money, probably around north of $35,000. And I learned a lot of things that opened up my world into technology. But afterwards, I was clueless. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have guidance on what I should do further in my career. It was just, here you go, be a cybersecurity professional, and that's it. So after researching a lot of different positions, I found this cloud architect position, and I look at the requirements and I just say, no way. I step back. I said, 4 years, college, I can't do that. It seems too hard. I just can't do it. I don't have the capability to. And I remember going on LinkedIn, and I'm just minding my business, where I network with this wonderful lady, Adriana. She knows, she finds what I'm doing. She tells me, hey, wake up, snap out of it. You can do it. I don't know why you're telling yourself you can't be an architect, but you can be an architect, and I know the perfect person to direct you to, and directed me towards Michael Gibbs. And first, when I encounter with Mike, I'm just like, what? This is not true. This is too good to be true. You're just sending me to somebody that knows everything about the cloud and whatnot. And Mike didn't say too much, actually. He introduced himself, and he told me to watch a YouTube live stream. I came and watched and asked my questions, and the way he was able to break down all my doubts and boil it to what I needed to do, I was intrigued. No one, even my own mentors, couldn't teach me like that. They just gave me the material, and you're on your own. So after going through watching his live stream, it became clear to me that, okay, I have to do this. There's no way that there's no other way that I can succeed without this guidance, because you need to find a mentor, you need to find someone that knows what they're doing in the field. And Mike, I told him my situation, because honestly, I didn't know what I was going to do. I already owed one company money. Now I'm coming to Mike. You know, I already feel ashamed that I just went through all of that. He helped me throughout all of that. He said, hey, we don't need to focus on the past. In fact, I've done things very similar to that. You grow and you learn. But he brought me and took me under his wing into this class, and I just kept thinking, nobody that isn't serious about what they're doing would just do that. You know, a lot of people just want money, and he didn't want that from me. He heard what I was going through, and he was heartbroken that I spent that much money. And he said, as long I have to do the work, it's going to be hard. I'm young, but he believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. And that's how at least this whole journey started.
You know, Daniel, it's interesting. I was thinking of that post, that social media post that you made, that Adriana over there in Jamaica. And Adriana is an exceptional network engineer, and she's becoming a great cloud engineer. And the only thing that I don't completely agree with Adriana is she prefers Damian Marley and I prefer Ziggy Marley. But other than that, she's just such a special, fine person. But I remember you had asked a question about the cloud, and I remember our first conversation. And I remember exactly how I felt at the time. And I remember exactly some things that I had done, which were very similar. And I knew in my heart that you had so much in you at the time that if you could just have a chance, you could do it. And I felt it and I heard it in your voice, because there's something in the eyes and mind of a champion. And yes, your success brings a little tears to my eyes, because it's not easy to get a 21-year-old successful, especially one that's a little scared about their future, petrified about their future, who may have been put through the ringer and mistreated by others. And I just remember, here's the thing. Someone that wants to be successful is, tell me how. What do I have to do? Just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. That person's going to be successful. Sadly, I hear a lot of times of, what about this? And I'm like, if you do this, you'll be fine. Well, what about this? I can solve that. What about this? And when you solve one problem, they create 4 or 5. That person, I know, can't be. And I saw it and I sensed it in you. And I asked you, will you work hard? It wasn't a little bit of hesitancy. You didn't ask what I mean. You didn't ask me about quality of life or work-life balance. You just said, if you put the work in front of me, I'm going to do it. And I know we found a way to creatively get you here, and we did it. And I'm so thankful we did. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful that you can share your story, because you didn't come into this world very wealthy, right?
Not I'm glad you mentioned that. So I will say that, you know, my parents they're nurses. They're all right. Definitely didn't come from wealthy family. In fact, fun fact about me, my parents are from Africa, West Africa. And my dad, the only reason I'm here is because he actually won a lottery in Africa, giving him a visa to come here, everything paid for. So I'm here already by chance. I didn't come here like everyone else, or people that were born here and had the means. I didn't have any means. At one point, I was even homeless, and I had some people to help me out. But that's where I was just a few years ago. So definitely didn't come from anywhere with money, let alone what I'm walking into now. So I just want everyone to know that anyone can do this. And especially everyone is going through something. And just because you're going through something doesn't mean that determines where you're going in the future. It matters how you handle that situation, how you take that situation in, and know that things are going to happen. I'm not going to be like this other person. I can't compare myself to this other person. They have their own life. But what I can do is remember where I came from and keep pushing and push and push, so that I can keep that story and tell other people. So now I don't have to feel like I am not like someone else. So I'll turn it over to you.
But now you have a position where your family will have generational wealth. I remember I called and spoke to your mother one day, and I just so liked her. I didn't know she was a nurse. You should have told her I was a nurse and a nurse practitioner too. There was just something in her voice that I felt was like sweet and warm. And I was just, you know, your success, honestly, it just gets me, because, you know, I love seeing it. You remind me of someone named Mitchell that I worked with for many, many years. I worked with him when he was in high school and while he was through college. He's now a giant in the cloud security space. But, you know, here's the key. When I met him, he was the same thing. He was like, what can I do? What can I do? He had this fire inside of him. And like you and me, we had to work our way to fight our way to claw our way to get there, but we got there, and that's really there. And that's what I wanted people to see. You didn't have to come from money. You didn't go to Harvard. You didn't go to any pristine school. You had fighting your mind and will in your heart. And that's the secret to all of this. So now let's talk about how important it was to learn how to be an architect versus an engineer.
So the way I come into the program, when I first come into the program, I'm excited. I'm ready to go, and I'm listening to these lectures that Mike's giving, and I'm just blown aback by how he can explain object storage, file storage, or whatnot. But then I am thinking, wait a second, this is too much. I honestly can't. This is a fire hose of information. I can't. He's talking about don't be like an engineer. I wasn't understanding it. So what I did was I went ahead and dove into the certifications. I dove into the certifications and instantly realized how different they were teaching me. Mike's teaching me what the technology is, just taking off all the names, and these certifications, AWS, they're just teaching me, okay, if you want to do this, then you got to look at this metric, and then you got to go configure this and configure that. And I'm going through it. Me personally, this is when I've found out this is what an engineer's world's like, and I can't. This isn't for me. So I'm going through it. I'm because I have to get the certifications, obviously, because I have very little experience. So I'm going through it, and my mind is just going and going and going. This is what I'm learning. I have to take, and I took a whole break from the program. So I'm not listening to anything Mike's saying for 2 months, 2 to 3 months. I'm just listening to all the certification, quote me, garbage. And the reason I'm saying this is as I'm learning it, yes, I learned what things are, but never, ever, not once did they teach me how to design it. They didn't teach me why I'm going to do this over this. They even at some point will turn you into an accountant. You're more worried about the cost than worried about what the solution is for the business and how to solve it. So I quickly realized, you know what, I need to get through this fast. I need to get through this fast, and so that I could go back to the program and learn what I need to learn. I go and pass my professional, and I'm happy. Everyone's happy. Great for me. And what I actually started doing was thinking, you know what, I have a professional certification. So why not just start applying? I'm feeling myself, and I'm just applying and applying and applying. And I get very, very, very low responses, and I'm very discouraged. I'm like, I did this. I worked very hard. I've even been taking notes. I've done everything I need to do, and nobody even wants an interview. And I tell Mike, I tell Mike, and he's like, well, you just came back from you. First of all, where were you? I told him, he's like, well, I'm proud and greatly happy of, that you did that, but they're not interested in you because you have nothing about digital transformation. You have all this, you're an engineer. They're not looking for someone who just passes a test and that's it. That's not what they're looking for. And he told me what I really need to do now, and it broke my heart because I spent 3 months already doing, being in the program, and I'm calculating I got 3 months left, maybe 6 months left. He flat out tells me, we're going to have to start you all over again. And the look on my face, I almost just dropped my phone. I didn't want to hear it. I have to start over again. I have to start over 6 to 8 more months again. He's like, yes, I have to take all this certification nonsense that they gave you, and I have to replace it with the real skills that they're going to ask you and they're going to need you to know. And I was just confused, but I was just studying this to be an architect. But what do you mean? Now I have to erase all of it. What he meant was there's a whole lot of things that they didn't teach in the certification, such as you use DynamoDB, you pretty much are AWS only proprietary. You can't do anything else. They don't tell you these things because they want you to keep using AWS. And these things are the things that we're talking about, that when you learn in the certifications, they're just teaching you how to get customers stuck with them. That's it. And businesses don't want that. So when I was realizing, coming back to class and hearing how he was talking about, we're not going to use this solution because it doesn't solve the problem. Why did you mention a solution when you don't know their business problems? All of this started to change my way of thinking, and it really put into perspective that I'm a big picture. That my job is about the big picture. It's not about, let me save you money here. Let me configure this thing over here. Let me go do this over here. Let me go give them this solution. If you don't know what their requirements are, if you don't know what their environment is, if you don't know what they're doing, what they need done, you're just blabbing, and no one wants to hear a blabber. So my talk, I could go on and on about all the other skills that I've learned, but throughout the program, not just the technical skills, but the soft skills and communicating, knowing how to read body language, and knowing how to control your voice and the tone of the room. You can't learn that anywhere else. And I would not be able to get it from anywhere else. You can't get it by reading a book. You have to get it by talking to someone who knows it and having them guide you.
Let's talk about some of those special skills, because for people that don't know us, we do extensive training in soft skills, leadership training, emotional intelligence training, CXO relevance training, executive presence, communication skills training, sales training, presentation training, and negotiation training. So let's go through a few ways in terms of how they've changed your life. In the beginning, when you joined us, you said, nobody takes me seriously. Do you remember saying that?
I do.
Nobody notices me or takes me seriously. If you walk into a store now, I don't care whether you're wearing flip-flops, if it's a Nordstrom at Saks Fifth Avenue, or a Taco Bell, do they immediately notice who you are?
They do.
That's that executive presence you now have. Do you think they would have hired you if you didn't have that executive presence at 21 years old?
I highly, highly doubt it.
So going in this, and then we're going to dissect this. So the leadership training, the emotional intelligence training, etc. How much do you think that played as an impact in the interview?
Oh my. I think it was more important than the technical knowledge that I knew. What for me, every place does their process different, but why I'm saying this, when I was interviewing, I had so many interviews. I had like 6 in a week. And this is after I have, because at one point when he keeps saying these soft skills, I just tell myself, they're soft skills. like they're just soft skills. What is so important? Why are you drilling this into my head? When I finally understood that, you know what, he's not saying this for no reason. Take these skills seriously. I'm getting 6 interviews in a week. This doesn't make any sense. So I'm going through the week, and I'm through the interviews that week, and I'm realizing as I'm talking to my interviewer, I can very quickly pick up on if I'm going on and saying something they're not interested in. I can immediately shut it down and say, do I need to clarify something, or do I need to talk about something else? Things like CXO relevancy. I had no idea what CX anything was and how important it was. I had an interview with a recruiter, had an interview with an architect. I had an interview with the director of sales engineering. All of those interviews are different. If I didn't know what each one of them wanted to hear from me, I talked to the director of sales engineering. I mean, if I talk to the recruiter, like I'm talking to the director of sales engineering, they're not really going to understand or get enough information to know, I don't think he's fit. Vice versa. If I go talk to the recruiter and talk to them like the architect is talking to me, they're going to be like, I mean, I just need, this is what I need. I need to make sure that my boss likes you. That's so the CXO part really drills into home that each person that's interviewing you for that position is different. You could talk to a CEO. You need to talk about the business and money. We don't need to talk about machine learning and all. We really need to stay away from that. So once I understood that, and my fourth interview came, and that was with Chase, and I knew who it would be with the executive director architect. I knew what she wanted to hear. She wanted to know if I could contribute to the team, if I had leadership skills, if I had soft skills. Do I have knowledge of at least one piece of technical architecture? These things were way more important. Didn't ask me about AWS CloudWatch, no transit gateway, no configure anything. Didn't care if I could configure things. Didn't care. What she cared about was the biggest thing, me being able to contribute, me being able to lead others, me being able to inspire and motivate others to do their work or help you when sometimes they're not feeling like it, or just in general, to bring up the atmosphere of the team. And I was telling Mike, I'm still shocked. And I know that if she didn't like me, I would not have been hired. There are tons of other people way more technically qualified than me that they could come on a rap list of 5 years of experience, but she took me instead. She took me, and it was because I understand. She could tell I understand. I know how to communicate. I got that from Mike. I know who is who and what they care about, and I got that from Mike. I know what I can contribute and what I can't, and I got that from Mike. These things, empathy and emotional intelligence, will really, really help you convey to your interviewer that you know what you're talking about and you have that executive presence that they're looking for.
And Daniel knows that I'm obsessed with these skills, and here's the reason why. It was about 20 years ago where I had a manager. I had fallen asleep in a CISSP certification training, and my manager like yanks me out and drags me to his office, and I'm expecting him to yell at me. And he proceeds to say, he's like, Mike, you're a little different than the rest of the engineers. And the team is like, you sort of beat to your own drum, but you communicate differently. And he says, hey, Mike, what's the difference between a $150,000 sales engineer and a $300,000 architect? And I'm like, I don't know, but I need to. And he was like, it's executive presence, it's CXO relevancy, it's leadership skills, it's sales skills. He said, these are the skills that can increase the impact you can make to your customer. And then he said, it's executive presence to be taken seriously. And I took it down, and I took training, and I took a lot of it, you know, probably $250,000 worth of training. And the companies I worked for paid for a lot of it, but I did it. And it changed my life, and it paid for itself back. So what have I done in the last 20 years when I teach people how to get hired or how to get promoted? I put these elite skills in because it shows the employer they need you on their team. So let's talk about specificity of training, like you train a pro athlete. One of the reasons I formed this company was the way the certification providers were telling people to just study irrelevant nonsense. Here's what you need to learn. You need to learn sysops. You need to learn DevOps. You need to become a cloud developer. You need to learn Python. And here's the thing. I say, no. I say you learn the skills for your job. You master the skills for your job. You become the greatest and best in the world in your job, and let other people do their jobs and be good at their jobs. So to get your first cloud architect job, did you learn Terraform, DevOps, SysOps, or Python?
Not at all. So just to give a little insight, fun fact, when I got into LinkedIn, when I first got into LinkedIn, I'm seeing all these AWS certifications. I'm seeing people get the DevOps, Solutions Architect Associate. They're getting the security. They're getting the database. They're getting everything. And I'm just scrolling. And I'm like, wow, that kind of looks cool. You guys got some. Is this what I need to do? This is before I meet Mike. And I'm just going through them. And why I'm saying this is there are hundreds. There's thousands. There's too many. It's actually heartbreaking now that I'm saying there's too many individuals that have, like, I don't even know how many other people's jobs are attached to their job. And it was funny. There was a student actually who they had multiple certifications that were not really fit for the job. And he was saying, oh, they keep asking me coding questions. They keep asking me this question. They keep asking me this question. I'm here for an architect position. I don't want to answer those questions, but they're asking you those questions because you gave them those questions. That's it. If you didn't give them those questions, I promise you the interview would have been so much easier. Because an architect interview, I don't want to say it's easy, but it is not, it is nowhere near an engineer level interview. And depending on how you convey yourself, you can make it a conversation. Now, I'm seeing all these people get all these certifications and how hard it is for them to get taken serious. You don't need a DevOps. It's just sad. I'm going through the certifications saying, please get this, get this, get this. Oh, you don't have experience? Don't worry. Just go get this certification, go get this certification. You can't put that on your resume. So if you can't put that on your resume, I used to run track in high school. So I like fast. 200-meter sprint, I'm gone. Why? Why am I saying that? Because my brain works fastest way possible. And how do I get fastest way possible? You need to train. You need to train the fastest way possible. Swimming is great if you're going to run. I'm not going to go and do volleyball and go train and do something else. That I need to get fast. So I'm going to do everything I need to get fast. I apply this in everything in my life. So when I'm talking to Mike and he's giving me the breakdown of, okay, you need to study this. You need to go through this. We don't need to go through that. You need to be able to talk about the data center. You need to be talking about object storage. You need to be able to talk about these things. Then you need to go ahead and look over here, do this reading. We don't need to worry about Python. There's so many applications where AWS, they have Python listed as a basic requirement. Throw it away. You don't no learning Python. I wish I could just put that somewhere. No learning Python. She didn't ask me anything about coding anything. Have I ever coded? She doesn't care. If I said it, she probably would. I think this is the wrong place for you. Mm-hmm. So I really want to drive it home that I know it seems hard. Like, okay, I got the professional, or I got these certifications, and I'm not, getting noticed yet. It's the worst thing you could do is get another one. The worst thing you could do is get another person's job. And I really want you guys to know that as long as you keep the training that is every step you're going forward is directly towards your goal. You're not taking any side steps. Any reading you do is directly towards what you need to know as an architect, not as an engineer, not as a DevOps or SysOps, because you think it's going to give you more cred. You're not going to get more cred. They're going to make the interview process hard because they don't want you there. Okay, so I'll turn it over to you.
And that's really the key, the specificity. So you said you were a sprinter. I love that. So if you were training for the 100-meter sprint or the 200-meter sprint, you do power training, right? You do power cleans in the gym, you do sprints, you do kettlebell work, you do speed work. Now, those marathoners that are going to run the 10K cross country or 26 miles, do they do speed work or they do long, slow distance work? And
they run for miles.
They run for miles. If you ran for miles as a sprinter, would it make you faster or slower?
Slower.
Slower, because you're training the wrong energy systems, the wrong muscle fiber type. You need fatigue-resistant fast twitch fibers, and you're using a combination of the phosphocreatine and the lactate energy pathway. And the marathoners needs long, slow distance, and they're training what's called the oxidative metabolic pathway. And you have to train for your job. I used to practice internal medicine, so trained a few athletes, and that's kind of the things. And Chris ran distance. He couldn't even, like he said, he wouldn't train near the sprinters because totally different. They look different, they walk different, and they talk different because the training's the same. So you got an Olympic sprinter like Usain Bolt. He or she does not train the way the Ironman triathletes do because it's a different sport. And that's why Daniel trained for specificity of training. And I love that he talked about speed work. So thinking about this, now you mentioned these architect interviews are not that technical, and there's a reason for that. How much of it was related to asking the right questions, presentation skills, sales skills, and leadership skills in those interviews? How much of it would you say that was 40%, 60%, 50%?
As some of you know, like I said, I had 6 interviews that week. What I'm trying to say is throughout all of those interviews, especially the one after the Chase one, the way he emphasized you being able to sell more than being able to know engineering stuff or what the technology is, I could have gotten, he said it, I could have just got hired straight off of that. And it put into perspective when I'm going through these interviews, the amount of technical questions is about up to 30%, and that's the most. I've got about 2 when I was with JP Morgan Chase, interviewing with them, and how many questions they asked me? About 12. So very little was focused on, it was just basic. Do you know this? You know that? Great. You know that? Great. You know that? Great. We don't need to worry and talk about that anymore. Now we want to talk about, are you going to be able to communicate well with our team? Are you going to be able to collaborate? Do you know how to design? How are your sales? In fact, your sales skills. They're more concerned with, do you understand this job is a sales job? Because I think a lot of people come in here not really getting it. I've had the director of sales engineering say this. It's interviewed for a lot of people, and they don't seem to understand it's sales. It's sales, and the reason he liked me is because he understood that I understood this is about sales. You want me to design something that will solve a problem in sales, and this is what industry we are in, sales. We're not worried about. We're not a troubleshooter. We're not here going to configure this and be an accountant. I used to, when I was taking those certification tests, I was, the cost, we got to worry about the cost, not knowing that is the opposite. If I mentioned, oh, we're going to, I want to help you with your product, but I want to make it as cheap as possible. She's going to be like, that's not what we're trying to do. I would prefer you didn't do that. I would prefer you contributed. And if it is what it is, it is what it is. But I really want to drive home that the sales skills, the presentation skills, the designing skills, that's what they care about. And they ask you the basic entry-level technical questions to know, will you be able to answer? Will you be able to design? If we ask you things, will you be able to deliver? It's not about, do you know an API gateway timeout is 29 seconds? Like, they don't care about that. So I want you to take it away.
And I'm going to cover this. The architect job is design, present, and sell. Say it with me, everyone. Write it in the chat box. Design, present, and sell. And then some people are going to say, hey, Mike, is that just pre-sales people? And I'm going to say no. So here's the job of the pre-sales architect, which is me most of the time. I go to the customer and I ask their executives, tell me about your business. What are your business goals, your business pain points, and your business challenges? From that, I get some information. I look at their balance sheet. I look at their financial statements. I look at what industry analysts are saying about them. And then I think about what types of technology can improve their business performance, whether it be increase sales, decrease expenses, improve collaboration, improve customer experience, supply chain performance. I map out those technologies, and then I go document it, present it, and sell it back to the customer. That's what we do if we work for AWS or Cisco or Google, etc. Now, how about the cloud architect or the solution architect that works post-sales, the person that worked for a bank or that worked for a global reseller? What do? They go and ask the executives of their company, what kind of business problems do you have that I can help you solve? Then they go back and they ask questions. They get engineers to baseline the current systems, and they make a design. And then what do? They sell it back to the executives so the executives can say, yes, I'm going to do this. And when the project's done, they hand it to the engineers to build. So it's a job of design, present, and sell. And that's why when you take certification courses, which are the name of the service and how to configure it, and we're focusing on designing, presenting, and selling, it's like, this is bad. Now you get a million of these certifications, which are the name of the service and how to configure them. And they want someone that can design and present and sell. And you're basically building the brand of everything they don't want. They want an executive, a leader. Look at Daniel speak. Look at him. Can you tell that he's 21? If I didn't tell you, would you think he was 30 and a manager? I mean, Alonzo looked at him and said, I feel like you're the loan officer in the bank and I need to apply for something and impress you. But it's true. Look at the executive presence he has. He's not 21. If I go to a meeting with them and somebody thinks he's 40, I'm going to go along with it because I don't want them to know how young he is. because he's ahead of his time. Now, let's talk about fight, fight, fight that's in you, because I love that that's in you. Was it always easy in my program? Was it ever a little edgy once or twice?
There were a few times in the program where in my head I was thinking, am I wasting my time? Am I just not? At one point, I don't want to say I wanted to quit, but the thought of what are we doing? I'm someone that he knows I'm not very patient. It's, to me, patience is like wasting time. You can't, you don't have time to waste. So I'm just telling myself, why am I here? What am I doing here? And for me, I know everyone has their own different vice, but for me, I see a lot of, let's just say, a lot of people, a lot of characters that when they find what they're going to do in life, it sounds funny, but the greatest people are not afraid to die for what they want in life. So what a lady could say, I want to be a nurse. And someone could say, you know how hard that's going to be? It's going to be very hard. 10 years, you're going to pay $200,000 and you're going to be in, and the interest rate's at least going to be 10%. Just because you're a nurse, I just want to let you know. Someone who is determined and does not care and who will be successful no matter how much debt is in front of them is the person that says, I don't care. I can't leave this planet until I'm a nurse. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. And if it takes me until 40, it takes me till 40. It takes me till, and that mentality was able to drive me and say, you know what? I don't care how long it takes. I know it's been at least 2 or 3 times where I told Mike, I don't know if I could do this anymore. And 1, 2 times he was like kicking me in the butt, like, no, you gotta go. You came here already. You've done all this work. Look at Yvonne, look at Jawad, look at Praveen. All these people believe in you, and I believe in you. They did it. You can't stop. And that last reassuring thought that I was able to comfortably say, this is what I'm going to live on this planet for. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to get it. So that is the type of determination it takes, because there will be a few times where you may think I'm wasting my time, or it's not happening fast enough, or this person just got cloud hired, I didn't, or this person was in the program just as long as I was, but he just got hired or she just got hired and I'm still all the way over here. Doesn't matter. There's too many cloud architect jobs. There's at one point I was thinking to myself, is Mike shooting himself in the foot? What if he hires too many people and they're all cloud hired? And then our thought came to my head, there's not enough people for Mike to hire to fill all these jobs.
Exactly.
There's just not enough. So once you realize that, and jobs will always be created for you, even as of right now, you're thinking it's taking forever, all these jobs being taken. A job will be created for you when you need it. It's waiting for you, but you can't get there if you stop, if you give up, if you say, I can't do this anymore. You have to know what you want and be willing to die for it. That is my personal advice. Now, don't do anything crazy, obviously, but that just means that is the determination you need to have in order to get what you really want in this life.
That's the thing. It's the unwilling fight. When I went to college to study nursing, I went to school from 7 to 3. I was married, which was really awesome. I worked from 3 to 11, mostly Monday through Friday, which meant I got to work 30 minutes late. 2 or 3 days a week, I worked 11 to 7 as well. And I worked a double shift on Saturday and Sunday. I got through school. I had no debt, all kinds of things. But, I was going to be a nurse and I wanted it, and nobody can take it from you. So, I remember one of the times you were a little frustrated, and I remember what happened, and you were totally right, but I was right too. I like to get my students to write blogs and articles to get their name out there, but also to learn how to write. Now, Daniel gave me one. It was good. Wasn't anything wrong with it. I sent it back and said all the things it needed. He improved it. I said good, but not good enough. Sent it back. On the 6th time, he's like, Mike, is it good enough already? And I said, Daniel, you don't understand. You've only had 6 revisions. On my first major paper that I wrote, I had it sent back to me 122 times. You got 160 more to go, but keep at it, keep fighting. So, here's the thing. If I didn't think you had it in you, do you think I would have sent it back to you 6 times?
Definitely not.
So because I kept sending it back to you, it's because I saw something in you that I couldn't let the talent go to waste. See, everybody has something that bothers them. 2 things get me in life. When someone says, I can't, it just kills me. I can't. I don't believe in I can't. I was injured in an accident and couldn't walk for like 6 years. 6 to 8 years. I did 6 to 8 hours of physical therapy all day, every day. Refused pain meds just so I could fight physical therapy. 13 doctors told me it wasn't possible. Guess what? I'm sitting here with you guys today, so we can do the impossible. I've had patients that were dying of cancer that we thought would never make it survive. I've literally had patients that were dying, and I'm not joking, that had a family member that was in India that took a week to get here, and they literally waited to die until they got to hug and kiss their children and died 5 minutes later, but they waited. So the mind is powerful. And that's why when I saw so much in you from that first call, that's why I've always fought for you. So, realistically, the specificity, the training, the kind of the way we did things, keeping you away from the other stuff and other careers. How important do you think it's going to be able to lead a team, to be able to do your job? Meaning this, do you think it's possible now that I've shown you networking and cloud, which realistically speaking is a data center, right? And you've learned BGP, and you've learned networking and interior gateway protocols, and data center well, what kind of storage, how to architect it, how to work around it, the databases to use, which kind, how to do multi-cloud, your next generation firewalls and your IDS and your IPS systems, and your business applications, and it all. Guess what? What's the likelihood at the world's biggest bank where you're going to need to build a team of an IAM architect, a security architect, 10 network architects, 3 enterprise architects, 10 DevOps engineers, 3 this, just to get the job done? Do you think it's possible?
Very, very likely.
So then which do you think is more important, your leadership skills or exactly the depth of your technical skills?
My leadership skills. Because as you said, these people aren't working for me, and I need to be able to communicate with them. So if his program, I will say, the reason why I got into cybersecurity was honestly because I was afraid of networking. I was terrified. I didn't want to look at an IP address. I didn't want to see it. I wanted it to not exist. But when Mike broke everything down, subnetting, I watched that video like 3 times, supernetting. And now that I understand what it is, it's like gold. Now I'm not afraid when I see anything in the field that resembles networking, that resembles the cloud or data center, or anyone that wants to ask me, do I know what I'm talking about? I think I know what I'm talking about. And I would never have done that or been open towards that without Mike. No one would be able to teach me networking because I'm very stubborn. You can't just throw a book at me, and I can't read a networking book. But he taught it to me. And I'm saying this because although those technical skills were very important and I feel like I can take over the world, I can't walk into a room and say, hello, I know networking. You want to work for me, Mr. IAM architect? That they're not questioning or wanting to talk to me about networking or things like that. What they want to know is he cool to work with? Do I want to work with him? What is he going to do for me and help me? Does he care about me and and how I'm feeling? Does he just want me to work for him and so he can get his promotion? And being able to lead the team, lead people. You don't need to be. I'm not the smartest. I'm never going to be claiming I'm the smartest in anything. But being able to say, can you help me? I need your help. You're the best person here. I need your help. What do you want to achieve? I can help you get there. and doing that with everybody and making sure you watch people, because some people may have a bad day. What kind of leader are you if someone's having a bad day and you're too busy talking about sales to know that someone on your team is not feeling good? They're the ones who are driving your sales. So knowing about tech is great, but it's not going to solve those problems. Talking about networking is not going to make him happy or make them work harder. So that's why those leadership skills are very important, and that's why I believe they believed and saw the potential in me as well.
I think it had so much to do with it. You know, there's something I want to actually, because now I'm going to take you outside of your world. Now, the leadership skills that you have, the ability to connect to others, those executive presence training, those scale skills, conveying the right attitude, reading the room. If next year you say, Mike, I don't feel like being a cloud architect, I want to do something else. I want to be a CTO. I want to be the director of engineering. Do you think that you're pretty much ready to do it anyway because they're like career agility skills that work everywhere?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, keep going on that.
Real quick, that reminded me. So the executive architect that I was talking to, after we've gone through the offer and stuff, I can speak about this. But it went back to when we were in the program and people were asking, what's a solution architect, a cloud architect? What is the difference and all that? And although, yes, there are some differences, what I've found is it's a title. And what I mean by it's a title is I could have said, name me a cloud architect. She'll name me a cloud architect. Name me a solution architect. She'll name me a solution. What I'm trying to say is these roles, they prepare you for the big roles. And they're so similar in each other that in this space, you know, someone could be your peer and they're called a cloud architect. Someone's over here being a solution architect. They're in the same field. They're doing the same job. They're mostly doing the same job. And in order to get, I would love to be a CTO, by the way. That's my goal.
I see it coming.
But I could be a cloud architect or solution architect to get there. And I just want people to not get so hung up on titles and understand that the cloud architect, the solution architect, all these different specializations of architect can all lead you into being a CTO or CIO or COO, or if you want to do something else, you're going to need those skills. Those skills Mike gives you like veteran mode difficulty. Everything's hard. This is hard. This is hard. Why? Because out there, it's not really going to be that hard, but he's preparing you because other people were not prepared for that difficulty. So that is something you guys should know.
So to be fair, and I did borrow this from some elite military units, we train our students today in a manner that others won't, so that tomorrow our students can do what others can't. So that to us is critical. Train the way you fight, and you're a good warrior. Train the way you don't fight, and when it comes to war, you're broken. So we train our people to be like lions out there and take up. So, you know, what about all these other people that are afraid to be successful? What do you have to say to them?
So personally, this hits home because sometimes some people feel like they don't deserve it, or they feel like something bad's going to happen right after, or like they're like, whatever what's going on in their life, they're putting it on themselves and saying, this is either too good to be true. This can't be true. I don't deserve something like this. Being successful, I don't like that. A little too scary. Probably not really possible. What you're doing, you're putting all these roadblocks. I did that too. You yourself, using your brain are actually creating an obstacle. That's what you're doing. There's something that I learned, and long story short, it's kind of why you don't want to think negative thoughts too much, because your brain can't process a no. It just can't. So if you say, I'm going to be successful, your brain is going to process that as, okay, this sounds great. We're going to go be, or if you say I'm going to be a failure, your brain is going to say, yes, okay, I guess we're going to be a failure. So when you keep saying, or you're scared, or, oh, first of all, it's great to be scared of something because it means that you have character. It means you're not invincible. You're human, and you actually have something to overcome and be proud of once you get there. But letting that fear turn into something else, or to guilt, or, oh, I don't deserve it, you're making your life harder. You're making the road harder. The path is as simple as the path. It's paid for you, however long it takes. Success is promised at the end of the road. It's promised there. It's not a joke. This isn't a gimmick. You'll fall, you'll trip, you may even get lost. Then you gotta walk back. You may even have to climb a tree and then jump and then go over there. But it's right there. The pot of gold is there. Now, telling yourself I don't deserve it, then you're not gonna get it. You're really not gonna deserve it. Saying, oh, I'm paralyzed in fear. So not only are you going to allow fear stop you, but now you're paralyzing yourself from doing anything else. You're not going to achieve the best at anything if you're scared of success. So I really want people to know that I was scared. I was terrified. Mike telling me you're 21, it almost seemed like he wasn't scared at all. The way he was talking to me, and I'm on the phone petrified. I am petrified. I just left this boot camp. I have money to pay, so this isn't a joke. I have family, and I was petrified. This isn't gonna. I'm 21. No one wants to talk to me. They don't want to talk to a 21-year-old. Fast forward, not only am I here today, but I'm proud to say that I was scared. I was scared to death, but that doesn't matter. What mattered was I was scared and I kept going. What mattered was I was scared, but I kept telling myself I deserve that. I don't care if I don't deserve it. Even if I don't deserve it, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get that success. It's there for me. And the only one stopping me is me. So turn it back over to you.
The only one stopping you is you. So I like to talk about fear versus courage. We all have fear. The truly courageous are do what they do despite the fear. It's not easy to do this. And this is scary because, when I explained the role to Daniel, he thought, because he did some tech stuff, that it was going to be a tech job. And he didn't realize this is a scary leadership job. This is a big job. So I'm going to ask all of you in the audience to notice something. And actually, before we do, can you give me a hashtag cloud hired to celebrate Daniel's success? And then give me a quick hashtag cloud hired, a quick hashtag cloud architect in the box, in the chat box. But I'm going to ask you to observe something about Daniel. I'm going to tell you what employers want. I'm going to tell you what employers look for in the perfect employee. Employers want the following: not experience, but technical competency or the ability to do the job. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen Daniel do it. I've witnessed it. He can do it. Number two, here's what employers care about. Can they trust you? So we're going to ask Daniel a question about how he answered some interview questions. Number three, they care about if you know what you know and know what you don't know so you don't make major and dangerous mistakes. Number four, they're looking for energy, enthusiasm, and passion. Guess what else they want? Someone that raises the energy in the room and brings out the best in others. They're looking for a great team player, and they're looking for someone that's willing to go above and beyond. Now, everybody, look at Daniel. Look at those characteristics of what you've seen today. Look at how he's communicating. Is he energetic, enthusiastic, and passionate? Was he willing to have a document sent back to him 6 times, which he rewrote and spent 6 months on to get hired? Yes, he was. Did he realize when he didn't know something and work hard to get there? I promise you he did. Can an employer see his emotional intelligence? I promise you they can. Look how control he is of his own emotions. He's 21. 512 people have already seen this. And he's 21. Look at him. He's a leader. He's the future CTO. In fact, while we were speaking, a 25-year-old student of mine from Grenada told me he just got a big cloud security architect position. And I'm super excited about that. We got him a security job last year, and I'm super excited about this. But that's the thing. He's got a big offer now, but he's just like you. Same thing. I see him as a future CTO. So all those things that you have. Now, did you know everything on the interview, or there's a question or two that you didn't know?
There was definitely a question or two that I didn't know. For this specific company, she asked me, was I familiar with this tool that they used with their architects? And I asked, could you explain the tool, what it is? And once she explained it, I very quickly realized I have no idea what this tool is, how to use it. So when she finished, I answered and said, although I haven't used that tool and I don't necessarily know how it works, what I do know is I can tell you what I have used, how we've used that, and how I can take that. If you show me this tool, I'm very, very confident I can use it and use it to the best of the ability. And that's all she wanted to hear. That if I didn't know it, I'm not going to, oh, yeah, I know it, and then set myself in a trap asking me this question, that question, that question. And the interview's over. Because once you say, I know something, you should assume they're going to pry deeper. And don't be afraid of saying, you don't need to know every single question. I know some people think it's like a quiz, and if you get 8 out of 10 questions right, you pass. This is not like that. You need to be able to, because they're going to ask, some of them may ask you multiple questions that they know you're not going to know, just to see, can we trust him? Is he going to lie and say he knows it for the job, or is he going to tell us, I honestly don't know? So yes, I had to do that, and honesty was the best policy.
And but it did two things. It showed they could trust you. It shows your integrity and character, which they want, but it also shows you know what you know and know what you don't know. Let's think about what happened last year. Somebody that didn't completely understand BGP as well as they needed to made a slight misconfiguration at Facebook, and they were down for hours. Google Cloud had a BGP misconfiguration too, and they were down for a period of time last year. Other clouds had other outages. We won't go into why. That's neither here nor there for right now. But if the person knew what they knew and knew what they didn't, maybe they would not have made that mistake. And when you don't know what you know and don't know what you know, you can literally speaking take down a whole company. I literally, 20-some years ago, was working at one of the largest market makers on the NASDAQ. And somebody was studying for their CCIE exam and experimented with it on the production network. And when the Cisco put it on the CCNA exam, it was meant not to work. So they wanted you to know if you had the technical savviness and knew enough about how it worked to work around the problems. And this person deployed it on a production network. And I caught it. I know exactly what it was because I recognized it from my CCIE exam. But he didn't know what he didn't even know. No, he shouldn't have done it in the first place, and I saved his job for him, even though I probably shouldn't have, after I fixed it and explained what happened to his manager in the polite, sort of emotionally intelligent sort of way, and then told his manager that I would remediate this character, give him another shot, which I did. He did great. Ultimately became a CCIE too, but never made that mistake again. But that's neither here nor there. So there's that. So I loved how you showed that out. So has this changed your life?
I said it on Zoom and I'll say it again. Mike saved my life. Without Mike, I keep thinking back, what if I wandered YouTube or wandered the web and just figured out all these things on my own? But there are very few things that not only would have not known I needed to know, like sales, design, communication, CXO relevancy, but there's a lot of things that I wouldn't, especially in the order that he placed them in, I wouldn't know where to begin. I'd be lost. I'd be on a map going from Georgia and end up somewhere in California, and I'm going to New York. I don't know where I'm going without guidance. And being, I play the piano as well, and I know what self-taught is. I've self-taught how to play, and it's amazing. But there is no way I could self-teach myself from leaving that program I was in to where I am today. It's virtually impossible without Mike literally holding my hand and walking me through, saying it's all right. I know you're scared. I know you don't think you're gonna. Don't worry about that stuff. You're here now, and what I need you to do is do the work. If you do the work and do the training and focus on what you need done for this career, don't do anything else. I promise you. He promised to me that I'll be good. This changed my life forever. This weekend I'll be moving, and it's just also some news is Chase would like me to be a spokesperson for some different events with high school kids and college kids. So without Mike, I wouldn't even feel comfortable talking, public speaking, or doing these things. And he opened the door for me to do so. So thank you, Mike. Again, you didn't change my life. You saved it. And if people don't believe what this program can do after seeing me, and when they get into the program, they will see how I started. I look like I don't even belong there. I look like an alien, and how I turned into what I am today. That they can do it too. So, thank you, Mike.
It's a matter of just being what's appropriate in the right place at the right time. When I go home to Greece, I do something differently than when I'm an executive. I wear T-shirts at home. And when I meet people, I wear a canali suit because it's what fits me, or a handmade one. If I have to, I wear whatever is appropriate. So I want to bring it in. We're going to start bringing in other people. The point is this year we've gotten people from all walks of life and all over the world hired. I saw somebody ask the question. We've gotten Americans hired, Cameroonians hired, Nigerians hired, Indians hired, people from Gabon, Benin, you name it, all over the world has been there, people from the Caribbean, because I see somebody asking, what about people from this world? We've gotten people from all parts of the world, all walks of life. We're all from different places. I speak Greek at home, got students who speak Spanish at home, Hindi at home, Punjabi at home, Urdu at home, French at home, Yoruba, all kinds of cool languages. So all of you can do it anywhere in the world. There's nothing stopping us other than you. So now what I want to do is as follows. We're going to bring in my cool team. Let's please congratulate Daniel. JP Morgan Chase wants to make him a spokesperson. He's 21 years old. It's easy to get a 50-year-old hired. It's easy. It's hard as a 21-year-old. So there's that. So let's make this a really special segment. Let's bring in some of my team. We'll bring in questions, but my team's excited too because we love when everybody gets hired. It happens all the time. But when it's somebody less than 40 or less than 30, it's a lot harder. So we're super excited. So my team's here with me. Make sure you join us, everybody, on the free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar on Thursday. Please join us. Please take the 9 a.m. question and answer if you've got any career questions and answers with us. I should probably say, but I never even talk about it, but I saw the banner. We're actually running a 30% sale, which basically means our training is basically the single day's pay for the average cloud architect graduate that actually leaves our program. I'm doing it not because I'm crazy. I want to get everybody cloud hired. So there's that. So let's bring in some questions for Daniel, or let my team see if they have any things to say first.
Oh, I got a hard-hitting question for you.
Uh-oh.
Since you just brought it up, Mike.
Okay.
I'm a numbers guy. It's not for you, but since you brought it up, Daniel mentioned earlier on that he had taken part in a pricier offering previously. Was that pricier offering or our product that's 1 day's pay for a cloud architect that got you where you are?
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second. Could you say that last part again?
He's asking if that $35,000 program, which cost 50 times more than ours, got you hired, or was it our program that you actually won a scholarship to by joining the last social media contest?
And you don't have to answer. That's enough.
The operative phrase is opportunity costs.
Opportunity cost. There you go. I like that.
There was that 16 weeks of distraction where if you were with us, we just would have gotten you hired 16 weeks sooner.
That was going to be my follow-up. My follow-up was going to be, let's go back to where you just blatantly said, yeah, I didn't do what Mike said.
They're sticking it to you, Daniel.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to follow what Mike says. I'll get there. Sure.
I will say one goal of this one goal of that I have for the stream is to dissuade anybody, any human being watching this. If you take anything from, you don't care about network, you didn't hear what I said about anything, sales, design, this is the one thing that I want you to take. Never. If you're especially thinking about a career in technology, engineer, architect, I don't care. Ever step foot, don't go anywhere close, don't watch a commercial, don't watch an ad, don't entertain it, a boot camp of any sort. I don't care what it's for. I don't care what they say, what they market. I will say what was sad, I was one of the second people in my entire cohort to pass the Security Plus, and everyone was happy for me or whatnot. There were people, let's say I passed it in September. There were people all the way up until November, December. They're passing their tests and they're applying to jobs. And around that time, I believe I'm already in the program. Some people are looking at me sideways like, you just got out of this program to go do another one? Failure. And I'm looking at other people. How many months it took them to get hired was 3 months plus. With their career teaching and all this stuff. What I'm saying is this program for less than $1,000, I still can't believe it, for less than $1,000 was infinitely, I would have done this program 35 times over, and I probably would be a CTO at this point. I don't want to say wasted time because I did learn a lot, and I could learn faster than others, but at that price, it's fine that I pay it, but I don't want anybody else. I don't care how good it is, what it looks like, what it's trained for. They're not doing anything other than packaging a certification at the end and give you some training and saying you're going to be hired. That means nothing. They're not teaching you the skills you need to be hired. They're not teaching you for a specific role. If you want to be in this field and you don't want to have to go spend thousands of dollars, please, I beg of you, click the button. I'm not a salesperson. No one told me. I don't want you guys thinking you're doing it because you went
here like, dang, I was supposed to have a button ready. Okay.
I need you to click the button. Stop hesitating. A 21-year-old is telling you to do it. Yeah. A young boy is telling you to do it. So please stay away from any boot camp. It was, I don't want to say worthless, but it could not have gotten me hired, and let alone hired within 3 months of me graduating. This program, I had 6 interviews in a week after I took what he was saying seriously, and out of them, 3 of them would have given me an offer. Chase was just the best one, so they gave it to me first. I took it. But I would know for a fact I would have had an offer from 3 places, and it wouldn't have been without Mike. So,
but you
I love that caveat.
Wow.
Seriously.
Thank you. See, what we did is showed you exactly what you needed to learn. Exactly. We were laser specific in what you needed to learn. How? Why? Because I've been an architect for the last 25 years. I speak to recruiters, hiring managers, and I've asked them forever, what's your perfect hire? So if you're going to produce a product, make it what your customer wants, and they're always going to buy it. So obviously you can tell when I produce this. To produce a course like this for less than $1,000, what's my real goal? To maintain a world-class staff of people like Chris and Alonzo and Chow and Leo and Eddie, so I can provide services to build people's great careers. Other else, why would I do it?
This is what I live for. Yeah. This I listened intently with what you did, where you figuratively started from the bottom. Now you're here. Now you're really. I'm just really impressed, Daniel, with the diligence and everything else. I mean, I think this adds more to the testimony of where you've been because you had to fight. You changed your mind, you pivoted to say, okay, I don't want to do this. And then you realize this is the only way to go. You invested in yourself. You took the time. You clawed your way. This was not easy because you have to do the work if you want this to succeed. If and I say this all the time, the program works if you do. Yep. And you did it. And it's just like Mike, this is a passion project for Mike. This is something that Mike is doing, like case in point for the boot camp. We had people from Tampa Bay to Tanzania. We had people from Cameroon to Canada. This is a global community. And for you to be able to, and this is no knock on young people or younger generation, but most of the time, they don't want older people to tell them what to do. This is what you should do. And they're like, I'm going to follow my own path. And yet you still were able to navigate back, realize the value of what's here at Go Cloud Careers, and look at you now. And I'm really excited to see where you're going to go. I want to see, and I say all this to say, where do you see yourself in 3-5 years? What is your ultimate goal? Where do you want to go?
Well, I've got some ideas, but I don't want to tell it and have people steal it from me now.
Okay.
But what I will say is I do really want to be a CTO, not just because of the leadership quality, but I've always been a nerd. So this is why I love this community, because it taught me it's fine. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be a nerd. It's okay. The nerd in me loves sci-fi, and it loves seeing technology being able to help humans as far as their health. There's a lot of things that I see every day that could be prevented or could be treated if there were technology available. So my dream is to lead the, I don't know how to say it, but lead the industry where a lot of people can afford better treatment using technology to extend the quality of our lives and really move the world, bring the future here and move the world forward. So I need to be a CTO in order to do that.
Now you know why I do this. You got a 21-year-old that wants to change the world by making healthcare safer. So he's talking digital transformation. No, he didn't talk about his Python code or a Hello World script. He's talking digital transformation. Guess what? Daniel's going to do it. I know he's going to do it. Yeah. I want him as a CTO. Heck, I want bigger plans for him too. He's 21. Where's he going to be by 26?
Yeah, I'd work with Daniel any day of the week. Any day of the week. I would be on his team. Definitely.
I greatly appreciate it. It's been an honor. It'd be an honor to have you guys on my team. And Mike will always be my mentor. He's not going anywhere. Without him, I wouldn't know where I'm going. So I need people like him, and he's the leader of those people, because having Mike in your corner is like having an ace to win any war, any battle. You're not worried because you got Mike. You're not worried about anything. So I want everyone to have big goals. Mm-hmm.
People that really know me know that I'll really reach out when really try and help them. If they're transitioning between houses, if they're transitioning this, people that really know me.
So I'm gonna bring in. I've got one question that I want to ask, and then we'll get to questions that are from the chat box on YouTube. So I don't mean to pick on you, but
the disclaimer.
But I'm glad that you talked about it, because it's real. It's reality. It's what happens in our program. You joined the program, then you decided to not follow the program. You decided to do it your way, and that has nothing to do with that. That's not just you. That's like 50% of the population. I'm gonna try it my way. I'm gonna do it my way. my belief is that one of the benefits and one of the biggest components of our program is the community and the fact that not everyone is in the exact same place. We're not doing batches and everyone's starting and stopping at the same time. So what I've seen from talking to so many people that have gotten cloud hired and doing the cloud hired videos is that they talk about the community. They talk about, and Eva mentioned it when she was on our show, talking about being able to see people. And you mentioned it earlier, seeing Jawad, seeing Praveen, seeing Joe, seeing these other people that have gotten this, they've gotten it. What was that part of your reason of coming back and actually doing the program and doing and coming back and being like, all right, it's not working. I tried it my way. What do we do? What was it? What allowed you? How'd you get to the point to where you were like, okay, all right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do what Mike says.
Okay. For me, a little different. The community helped me in a different way, which I'll get into.
Okay.
But for me, like I said, I'm very hard-headed. I'm very stubborn. Someone could, like Mike could tell me, hey, you need to do it this way. And my brain's like, Mike, you are a genius that has amassed all this knowledge from this point to this point. Please go easy on me, please. Okay. I can't do that. So, what to me, what got it was Abigail's one of my close friends here, and she knows me a little bit more personal to know that coming into this program, I was already feeling a little, how do I say this? I want to get this done as fast as possible. I don't want to hear anyone got to say. I need this done. And she was telling me, don't let your personal life make you feel like this. You need to do it faster, or you need to. And I wasn't really hearing it. And I go and take my certifications, and then I come back to realize I'm a very, very, I pick up things pretty well, pretty fast. And I noticed a distinct difference in how I was learning this material from Mike's material. And once I realized what I was doing was basically engineer talk, because at one point I pass it and I'm listening to Mike and all these things are starting to fill in, like, wait a second, I know that now, but he says pretty much this is why you know that it's not going to work. You might as well forget it. You know this now. And then I was like, so you mean I just spent time to learn this and now I got to forget it? I wasted time, did I? But I know people have different ways of learning, but how do I say this? Sometimes the only way for some people to get the lesson is if they get it in themselves. They drive the car in the ditch and they realize, man, maybe I shouldn't have drove there. Shouldn't have took that turn. Maybe I should have just listened to Mike. I know I want to get there faster. And I know Daniel told me, if you go that way, it's probably going to be a little harder. But Daniel's a genius too, and Mike's a genius, and all these people talking to me are geniuses. Why am I listening to them? I'm not a genius. I'm a normal person. So since they don't understand me, that's where it goes. That's where the logic is. So some people it'll take seeing someone like me literally say you don't need to do that, or some people they gotta drive it in the ditch and realize when they go interview, they don't want to hear transit gateway and API gateway and what you learn. They want to hear, great, you know about it. How does an API gateway work within an architecture? And you're stumped and you're clueless, and then you feel the burn of I could have listened to Mike. He would have taught me how to design all this stuff, and then I could have just that's what it's called, an API gateway. Oh, okay. So
I just love the composure Mike has, because he's trying his best not to laugh, but the wisdom that he imparts, it's like it's there. It's he's like a really great mentor father, where it's like, okay, I gotta let him fail on his own and let him realize where he's going, and that he will come back to the house.
You say that, but you guys have no idea how difficult it was for me back when
you are the dad of the dad. So
when it was just me and Mike would be like, how do we get them to get it? How do we get all of them to understand? Yeah. It's like, well, you're just gonna. They're just.
It's like trying to reverse engineer what the world has been telling them to try to get them to understand. Like, case in point for me, as a quick caveat, when I first met Mike, I said, well, don't I have to go? AWS, they're good for giving you this monopoly board trail of what you have to learn. And he said, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. But Mike, no, you don't need to do that. So we've all been there at once upon a time. So it's not just you, Daniel.
Oh no, it's just so funny. I'm last year, and I finally got Mike. We finally got on the same page. But it was just I had to. We had to come to an agreement that
I was privy to one of those conversations, which was very interesting.
It's like people are just going to learn the hard way. They're just going to do it, and there's not anything we can do about it.
And it's true. And I've tried so hard. I've written articles now in 20 or 30 magazines, everything from Information Week, Tech Republic, Tech Radar, saying certification's not going to get you hard what it is. Daniel's told everybody that the certification training he has didn't get him, that he had to unlearn it to get hired. And yet multiple people in the chat box are asking what he used for certification preparation, which he told you he just had to unlearn because he couldn't get hired from. So the reason I started this company was to save people from that kind of training. There's an opportunity cost of your time. Here's what opportunity cost means, everybody. If you spend your time, your money, one place, you can't spend it elsewhere. The average cloud architect earns $600 a day. A good one earns $1,200 a day or more. So if you spend a year learning SysOps, DevOps, Python, and software development, and you never do it in your job, guess what? You wasted a minimum of $160,000, minimum of lost wages. But it's not just that. If instead of wasting that $160,000 of lost training time learning garbage that's completely irrelevant to us, critical stuff for somebody else, but garbage for us, if you're learning that, what aren't you learning? Your job. And you're not getting better at your job. So what separates that $600 architect versus that $1,200 or the $1,800 architect? Their ability to do the job better, better presence, better business acumen, better leadership, better design skills, better tech acumen. So train your job, not somebody else's. That's the way to the top. Train somebody else's. That's your way to the bottom.
Yeah. All right, so let's get some questions in here. But before I bring in the questions, since Mike decided to just go into the opportunity cost, I don't want any responses. I just want Daniel to think about this. Think about those 3 months that you went out and did your Rumspringa and did whatever you wanted to do for 3 months, and learn the hard way. So just take the annual salary that you just accepted and divide that by 4, and that's what you missed out on.
You're like there's 3 different uncles that are yelling at you right now.
yeah, that's the face that I was expecting. Yeah, there we go.
I just view it part of life now, but I've tried screaming from the mountaintops. I wrote 3 AWS books. I've done free CCNA, free Azure Solution Architect Expert this week, free AWS Advanced Networking, free Azure AWS Solution Architect Associate under Channel Y, because we're teaching more of how it works versus how to configure it, because we cater to architects. Now for our engineers, don't get me wrong, we train them differently. They do learn the code, they do learn Python, they do learn Linux, they do their Terraform, and they're hands-on. Why? It's a different career. So we train people. You train the sprinter to be a sprinter, you train the marathoner to be a marathoner. That's why we do it. It was so nice having you join us for this video today. Let me tell you about some free services we do for the cloud community. We have a free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar, where we tell you all the things you need to do and know to get your first cloud architect job. In addition to that, we actually have a free question and answer session live on YouTube, where you can come and ask us any questions you want about building your career related to cloud computing or networking, and we'll answer them
in real time for you because we want to get you to your goals. Several more times per week, we have guests from industry experts that I've known for decades that are movers and shakers that have changed the world, that can give you information so you can build the best career. I invite them periodically. They are on my show. If there's a chance to do some free training on our channel, we'll do it live because we want you to all to have the best skills for the best career. So please subscribe and hit the bell. I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to assisting you in your technology career. Thank you so much. This is Michael Gibbs from Go Cloud Architect.